We got the sounds from the pit, straight out the box, baby. That's it, the sounds from the pit, making that bird noise. Go get it, the sounds from the pit, straight out the box, baby. That's it, the sounds from the pit, no covers, Loren. Hey yo, it's your boy D4. I'm here with the co-host Aki. We in the house.
Yes, sir. Aki Jamal Durham here, the Renaissance Man. Nice to be with you.
We gotta, we always bring the hotness, y'all. But this one here is an exceptional hot take. We have the incomparable, the indelible, Pittsburgh's own Roger Humphries in the house, y'all. What's up, Unc?
How you doing today, Dwayne?
You want to talk into your mic so the people
Yes,
can hear you?
yes. How are you? Thank you.
Absolutely wonder. I'm a little nervous because just want to thank you for doing this for us, and I think your voice to what we're talking about, what Sounds of the Pit, is very, very important. And let's just start with a little history. I read some bit of your bio. You started playing drums at the age of 4.
Yes.
And you became a professional drummer at the age of 14.
Okay.
Is that right?
And I do think it was 3.5 when I started.
Wow.
Yes.
Goodness.
I was 3.5 when I started. I come from a musical family,
Okay.
Not only from my uncles, my father's brothers, Frank and Hildred Humphries, and I had two brothers, older brothers, Lawrence and Norman. And Lawrence was the saxophone player, and my brother Norman was the drummer. He's the one that taught me, and I went back to say 3.5 because this is the history of what they gave me, my older brother Norman. And it was beautiful, to have people that help you out with something that is natural for you, to do.
So the drums were the inspiration of you playing the drums were from your family, or were you looking at or listening to certain types of music and just picked it up?
Well, I'll tell you what is so heavy about this. When I was like 3.5, I guess, my brother Norman and my brother Lawrence, they would rehearse in the living room. And back in the day, only thing you had with a small house was the living room.
Wow.
And like a dining room, and upstairs 2 bedrooms, and in the basement downstairs. So like before I even started school and everything, I would be laying on the sofa taking a nap, and my brother Lawrence was being there with his band rehearsing in the living room. So you know how small it was,
Wow.
But it was great because sometimes I used to think to myself, maybe because of the fact that I was so young and they were playing music, the music got into me. You know what I mean? You make up all kind of things, but the music got into me because I listened to it all the time. You dig it? But
Your first drum set. Your very own first drum set.
My first drum set of my own, I bought. Wow, I can't even remember. I bought. Yeah, it was Slingerland. It was a Slingerland set, and at the same set that I went on the road with Stanley Turrentine.
Wow.
And then later with Horace Silver, in '64.
You said that was in 1964?
Yeah. Other than that, there's a picture on the wall that it was my dad bought the drum set for me, and I was 4 years old in elementary school.
That's the set I was thinking you were asking about.
Right.
When it was not my brother's set that I play on, but Mom and Daddy gave me a set. That's what we was asking about. Yeah.
Yeah, matter of fact, it was that picture that Teenie Harris took. Me and Mary Jane College School.
Yes, sir.
That I have on the wall.
Wow.
That was my first drum set as a kid, and then after that, when I got the opportunity to start playing with Stanley Turrentine, when I left it was Allegheny High School when I graduated in '62, and I was 18. Came out of school that summer, and went with Stanley Turrentine. Like that July.
Wow.
But I had family that lived in New York City,
Okay.
so it wasn't very difficult for me to. He lived in Central Park, in Shirley, and I lived 770 St. Nicholas Avenue, Uptown.
Nice. It's a good segue. So I was reading. I'm gonna use my phone, y'all. So some of the people noted again: Stanley Turrentine, Shirley Scott, Horace Silver's Song for My Father, Roy Brooks, Ray Charles, Lee Morgan, Grant Green, Billy Taylor, Bill Doggett, Benny Green, Lionel Hampton, Coleman Hawkins, the list: Freddie Hubbard, Dizzy Gillespie, George Benson from Pittsburgh, Herbie Mann, Randy Brecker, Joe Williams, Jimmy Witherspoon, Dwayne Dolphins, even the Isley Brothers.
Come on now.
And the list just goes on and on. This is, again, living legend right here in Pittsburgh. Let's talk about, we were talking offline. So playing with all of these people, married, I know the story, and I know about Mimi, and I want you to tell the people, like, you were on the road. Tell us about that story when you came and your daughter.
Oh yeah, I was working with Ray Charles, and we were like in D.C. and my wife came up with the kids. We only had two at that time. It was Mimi, the oldest one, and Roger Jr. And when they got at the hotel, when they got up the elevator, Roger Jr. come down to see me. He come running like little kids do. And then my daughter Mimi had her mom's hand, and she asked my wife Regina. She said, "Mama, who's that guy there? Who's that man?"
Ooh, Lord.
And I heard it.
Yeah.
I said, "Man, oh man," And then it just rang a bell for me because of the fact that I had to travel on the road. That I wanted to be a father, and my kids know who I am. Because you'd be surprised when you're on the road with what you call road warriors. Some of the guys are older; they don't get a chance to raise their kids to be back home because the road is their life.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't want that. I didn't want that part. So I said I would make a decision, to come home and whatever the deal is, I'm gonna make sure I still keep playing music.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But let me be in Pittsburgh. Let me be at home with my family, and then travel.
Yes,
and
sir.
that's what I did. I made that decision, and I have no regrets, man.
Amen.
That's good to hear. That's good to
Yeah.
hear. You know, we can often in my day job, I'm often challenging people on separating their roles in life from their identity, because we can confuse the two. And as I'm hearing you talk about that, I'm hearing what I can relate to as part of my identity, that we share fathers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
For me, if I picked up any instrument well enough for somebody to hear me, I might say I do music. Maybe I'm a musician, but because that's not a deep part of who I am, it's a role, not part of my identity. But you had to choose not between a role and your identity. Music is part of your identity. So
Yes.
that speaks to just how bold and noble your choice was, right? Because
Yes.
this is a love for a love.
Yes.
Right?
And it's wild. You got to make things work.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes you don't know how, but you got to make sure you keep the faith though and thing, and you got to work for the family. And I was blessed enough, man, for my music career to go on, because I think about it now, boy, I would be like losing my mind if I didn't have the music, because it's part of my life, especially when we had part of like the COVID and other things could happen to you, you know what I mean? And I thank God for that. I thank God for the music that he gave me.
And that stuck with me for a while. I heard that story as we were talking offline years ago. And I remember, because there's so many musicians, both professional, those aspiring to be that, and there's this strain between them and their kids. And one of the things, I just remember this phrase, the balance between being a public success and a private failure. And the fact that you came off the road and made your niche here in the city of Pittsburgh is commendable, remarkable. There's not enough that I can say about that choice. It's helped me knowing that story. That stuck with me, and just trying to balance being this musician, being this artist, but yet at home, my kids, my son, he needs me. But I'm in New York, I'm in LA, you know what I mean? And just trying to balance that. And like what Akeem was saying, the identity. And so me being a spiritual person is like, God, how do I do this? Because the 9 to 5 is not going to work. They're going to kick me out the house. You know what I mean? And just looking at, because your family is my family. Roger, if you don't know Roger Jr., we were college roommates. We were best friends since 8th grade. And so the Humphries are family. That's why I call him Uncle Roger. That's a quick story before we move on. And I was, again, offline. We always have these conversations offline. So I went to Kappa, the real Kappa, no offense, Brushton.
Stop.
Where we were playing on broken pianos and broken drumsticks and stuff before y'all got all that technology downtown. I ain't hating. But,
are you though?
Huh?
Are you though?
Maybe just a little bit. I'm a little petty. But we had levels. Level 1, group 1, group 2. Group 1 was, you was on top of your game. Theory, performance. So, I was the man. I was one of the men,
Okay, right.
I go to Pitt, and I'm going on with this swag. I go into audition for the Pitt Jazz Band under Nathan Davis, rest his soul. And I did my little thing. Nathan Davis said, "You can't play with me playing like that." Dejected. You hear me? I'm like, everyone else made it. Roger Jr., he was the drummer, and I'm trying to play it off like, no, I'm cool. Roger called you and said, Uncle Roger called Nathan. I don't know what you said to him, but Nathan called Roger Jr. and said, bring your friend back in. So I go back in because Uncle Roger talked to Nathan, like, give him another shot. So Nathan told me, learn Spain. I give you a week. Come back at the next rehearsal. If you got Spain down, you'd be a part of the band. Wow. And I learned Spain down. And everywhere we toured, I played some auxiliary, but when we played Spain, I was on the piano.
Okay. All right.
But so that's the connection we were talking about. Sometimes it's not what you know, because I wasn't good enough. Everybody was, I'm thinking coming from high school that I'm the man. I go to college, everybody's good. Right. I was mediocre at best. Right. But it was because of Roger that Nathan gave me another shot. So I want to thank you for that. I don't know if you remember that story, and that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I better thank you too.
Yeah. And because look, I'm still playing, still making a living, being a musician, composing, and doing different things in the arts, and a lot of that I owe to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we've been wrestling with Pittsburgh, like you are when we talk about the epitome of music, jazz, rhythm. First person that comes to mind is Roger Humphries. And so with the wrestling, with all the guests that we had, we've been asking the question, does Pittsburgh have a sound? Based on the rich history that we talk about of the arts in the Burgh. Does it have a sound? If it does, can we identify what that sound is? And if it doesn't, why doesn't it? What would you say to that?
Well, when you say if it doesn't have a sound,
or you can start, what does it have a sound?
Yeah, it's because maybe they're not feeling the Pittsburgh spirit. Because when we speak about the spirit, it's like you don't have to look at anything. Your eyes can be closed, but you can hear Earl Gardner, Alma Jamal.
Yes, sir.
Art Blakey. I don't want to mention his name that soon. But it's just like where you come from. And it's a spirit that you get by you go listening to these people play. They got their own what you call signature, and it's on Pittsburgh sound, and to bring you up to date. No, when you hear him play Stanley Turrentine, they ain't but where he comes from. That's the Pittsburgh sound. That he created his own personality. You know.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know no other way to describe it except for like you hear J.C. Moses, you know, play the drums, and you know, it's just different people. We just have our own sound that's going, and that's why you hear people from different places of the country say, "Man, it sounds just like it from Pittsburgh." That's a Pittsburgh sound, and I didn't make this up; they did.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
So how do we create that? And again, we were talking about baby boomers know you and Stanley and Georgie and these guys that come have their roots in the Berg. But the up and coming musicians, a lot of them who you've taught, you know, how do they create that sound? Of course, for me, when I'm going to the clubs and to, you know, the venues where there's live music, they're playing covers. Pretty much. So you can't, how do you create a sound when you're playing someone else's music? Which is cool, because I think there's too much great music out there not to play, but you're not messing any of your own creativity or your own original material. So how do they create? I mean, to me, if I say Pittsburgh sound, I think of you. I think of everything that you just said. So even talking about what's your signature sound, could you define that? And there's something that comes to mind when I'm thinking about you, where I can close my eyes and come into a venue and say, that's Uncle Roger on the drums. And pick that mic up one more time.
I didn't mean to put it down. It's like you hit me in the head with something for me to try to figure this out.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, and just what you're saying, it's some things without words. And me sitting there, it's something that we have that you're born of, like you said, the Pittsburgh sound. It's something that you just get. You know, can't nobody just make you have that.
Okay.
You know, it's from like where you from.
Okay.
I think, you know, instead of me trying to make up. No, I can't do that.
So
you
it's
know?
it's not taught, it's caught,
Yes.
so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, it's taught by you going out to the place listening to those from Pittsburgh. It's, you know, like, oh, man, dear God, all the great people we have over here, man. Like I already mentioned, Jamal, but you thinking about Stanley, Tommy Turntine, Bobby Boswell on the bass, you know, John Hurt on the bass. And you think about all these, Pete Henderson, you know, Spencer Bay, and you going back to Eddie Jefferson, and you just keep on, you know, going back and rewinding all these people's sound. And the more you listen to it, the more it's like a language. You get the language,
Yes,
what they're speaking about, and you say, wow.
That is germane to this region.
Yes, yes. Because you have to realize, like in New York, a lot of people was born there, but most people come from somewhere else, went to New York City.
Okay.
They weren't born in there.
You talked about Pittsburgh being that in-between.
Oh, yes.
Explain that.
I was taught as a kid, man. You know, what they call the inner city. How do they, what you call,
You were saying something.
crossroads of the world.
Crossroads.
That was
Okay.
I'm trying to get the right terminology
right.
so people could understand it. And when you're young, realize it, talk about from New York until I'm old enough to be in New York City. But Stanley Turntine and Shirley Scott, we leave New York City, come through Pittsburgh, go through like Chicago, Philadelphia, but this is the crossroad.
Okay.
Where all the giants, like you're talking about all the great musicians, and then they go to the other part, you know, Philadelphia, Chicago, wherever it is. But Pittsburgh was always considered, you know, when I was coming up a kid, to understand the crossroads of the United States, of the world.
Yes,
To
sir.
me, you dig it?
Yes,
You know,
sir.
Pittsburgh got its own identity.
Would you say that you're more appreciated by those of us who can touch you because we're Pittsburghers, or those outside of
That's a
the
good question.
crossroads, the other side of the crossroads, right? Do you feel as though you get a greater sense of appreciation? Because I know Dwayne and I have talked in the past about not feeling loved and appreciated here. A prophet knows no honor in their own home, sort of energy. But is that something you've experienced?
What do you mean, being into another state or another place?
Yes, sir.
Maybe by some, but most of the people in the music world, man, they know about Pittsburgh. You dig it? And they know, with like the history. You talking about the older people, Roy Eldridge, and all these people, like where they come from, and like it's it's a funny thing, man. I can go someplace, no matter where you go in the States, and they'll be saying, man, guys sounds like from Pittsburgh. It's like you're so soulful. It's like the
Dwayne said the
identity.
same thing.
It's like identity that you have, and you're not even aware of it.
Yes, sir.
But it's beautiful, man. I mean, there is no other place, to be honest with you, for I'm concerned. There ain't no other place like Pittsburgh.
Nope.
There ain't no other place like Pittsburgh.
So part of that second question that I kind of went back to, like your signature, was the young, like some of your students. I won't name them, but they're great musicians. Some of them are either one I know has some solo stuff out, but there's a lot of these musicians again who are fantastic with the covers, but don't have original stuff either that they're scared to put out or that they haven't put out. What do you say to them? Because that generation you spoke of paved the way, but from a bird's eye view, from what I see, and I could be wrong, but I've been in the game for I'm 55, so I've been in the game for a while. I don't see that what you guys had and the younger musicians coming up. Now there's some phenomenal people who are coming up, and that's what we're trying to do, to spark that thing that you had in your generation with this generation and those musicians coming after. What would you say, or do you see that thing being done with them that you experienced?
I tell you what, I do see that coming out of them. It just haven't gotten there yet to put it on the surface. But me playing at the joints, man, and seeing some of these young people come out and sitting in and playing, and even quite a few of them have their own song that they have written. You dig it? And to me, it's just a matter of timing.
Okay.
It's just a matter of timing, and they got to keep the faith. First of all, we have a lot of musicians like in the past. At their first album, it didn't hit top 10.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You got to put some things out here, man, and keep on trying at it. And they're telling it. And what I love about it right now, of the young musician, they have the opportunity not only to have the gift, but to study and to be better. To study and to be better, to learn the language. You dig it? Where a lot of them didn't have the opportunity. They had a Kappa. The Kappa came up later than all the one before that, man.
Right.
They had the opportunity. So now, these kids who are writing and arranging stuff, I take my hat off to them. And you got to make a mistake unless you're perfect coming
Right.
up, and but they're doing a good job.
What would be some, of those great musicians that you were speaking of? I can go down the list, and it's funny. And I'm a solid piano player. However, these guys play circles around me. So what would you tell them that they need? Like, as far as playing by ear, no one does it better. But some of these jobs, Broadway, I've talked about the opera and those things, a lot of these musicians are called, but they lack one thing. And I don't know if they have the opportunity, the theory, and they don't read. What opportunity, Kappa's downtown now, and I think it's even harder. And we don't have, what do we have? Centers back in the day where we learned all this stuff. Like these guys, some of these young guys are just out of this world. But you put some sheet music in front of them, it's foreign language. And so they get the gigs doing the $150 to $200, but when the big gig where they put the music in front of you, what opportunities can we create?
I didn't mean to cut you off, but here's my thing, man. I didn't have the opportunity coming up. You dig it? When I was a young kid, his name is Joe Harris, took me to a teacher downtown on Liberty Avenue, Mr. Hammond. Thank God I remember the man's name. Mr. Hammond was the guy's name. And I must have been maybe about 6 or maybe just a little bit older. He took me down to this man because, Joe Harris went all over the world playing percussion. He was a percussionist.
Yes, sir.
Played xylophone, played it, all the stuff in percussion field. And when I went to this man at the age of about 6 or 7, he told my parents, he said, no, we don't want to start teaching him because sometimes it takes away from his natural ability. You dig it for playing because you're making him start reading, you know, and all that stuff. But one thing, man, when I was teaching like at a Kappa, it's very important for us to teach our kids to, it's like any other profession you're going in. This is the way by reading the book, the English language. This is how you're able to interpret what is on the paper.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, and you're already smart. Don't let nobody talk to you, make you be afraid of reading. No. You already got the gift. Learn how to read so you can interpret whatever he write, you know. That's like Joe Harris said, I don't care what you put on that paper. Give it to me. He had that faith because he learned how to interpret what to read and what's going on a piece of paper. Wow. So we want to encourage them all the time. No. It's like somebody telling you, Dwayne, you coming up, you can't do that. You can't be no piano player. You can't do this. It always you can't. Maybe they can't. Had nothing to do with you. So what you want to do, you already got the gift. Now you can outplay everybody. So it's a drag. Now we give you a piece of paper and you can't even interpret it. Wow. You dig it? Wow. So we got to put those combinations together. That's why I thank God that Harry Clark created Kappa High School. Thank
Shout
God
out
for
to
that.
Dr. Clark.
Yeah,
Yes,
he created
sir.
that, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. There's a saying, what you were saying, they said, those who can do, those who can't become critics. Those who can do, those who can't become critics. And you know, speaking to that, it just seems like there's a lack of, I know the Afro-American Music Institute is a great place to learn theory and that stuff. But when I was, you know, because I had everything, for me to fail was been on me because I had the Kappa. I was involved in, you know, CLO and all that stuff that taught you that, you know, I had the natural gift, but the technical. And it seems like with a lot of, you know, especially kids that I'm mentoring in the music, there's not a lot of places to go anymore to learn that, you know, that theory and stuff, that it will put you, that you can play in any arena, in any genre, because you have at least that basic, you know, theory principle, you know. I think we're lacking a little bit of that in the Berg as of today.
And the lessons, you know, we think about James Johnson and thank God they have this school out there, you know, but you got to get the kids to take lessons. It's like taking lessons in anything. Golf, I don't care what it is. It's like taking lessons, you know. And when they're exposed to taking a lesson, that's what take them, like you said. When the kids got the gift like that, you can't tell them what they can do. They'll play with the symphony orchestra. They play with all. They already got the gift. Sir. Now you taught them how to read and to interpret. You dig it? What the music is.
Yes, sir.
Dwayne, do you think that's a Pittsburgh-specific problem? Is it those opportunities to learn theory and the like don't exist as they once did?
I think that, for me, I think that has a lot to do with it. Okay. Especially if they want those gigs with the symphony. Right. And the opera and those things. You know, I have to call Howie or Elton and those guys that I know, Charles Rowe, that I know you can put something in front of them and they can play.
They kind of represent the last of the young musicians who came from a similar cloth as you.
Right.
They're right at the end of that. Every name you just named.
But like our church musicians, not Claude Reed's, but I don't know, like they're young. We're talking like that 18 or that 14 to 20 something. I don't know the places they can go to get that. The evaluation would be, would you be willing to get that skill, that, you know, knowledge as it relates to the theory, the language. I love the terminology you use there, the language of music, because you feel it's already there. But to read it on paper, you know, that universal language. So I don't answer your question. I don't know of many opportunities that were free and affordable that I had. My generation, you might have been the last of the Mohicans there, were set up for success. From Urban Impact, Urban League, you know, all them Inroads,
Yep.
all those places that we, you know, Saturday at Peabody, the centers. We learned all that stuff there.
Yes.
We didn't have to have any money though,
Yes.
Unc.
That's the thing. That is the thing.
Everything's a money hustle now. You
Yeah.
know, So to your question, I don't think there is. Right now in Pittsburgh. I'm just looking at where there's no, you know, other than age. If you want to learn, you can come. It's Afro American Music Institute,
Okay.
Dr.
Institute.
Jones.
Okay.
I don't. There might be some more out there, but I don't know.
Yeah. But when I say a Pittsburgh specific problem, if I compare this to a Philadelphia or a New York or a Chicago, do they have that same problem with this generation, or is that Pittsburgh specific?
That's a good question.
I don't think it's just Pittsburgh. No, I don't think it's
You
just
think it's a
Pittsburgh.
funding thing with government too?
Right now,
Okay.
I do. Yeah, because there would be more kids who could take the opportunity if you had a free place for them to learn. You know, it's just like the Hill House, where you invite
Yeah.
kids to come in
Yes, sir.
and help teaching about the arts, the painting, you know, the music, whatever it is. You know, we just had that program for the kids, you know.
Yeah. And then when you think about it, that's off the top of my head. When I think of, especially of course, New York, you have multiple schools of music, and they'll have these famous names attached to them, but they're schools of music or the arts. There's a couple around here, and I know there's not a lot, there are a few schools of the arts that are on the outskirts of
Okay.
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Wexford, hard places for us to travel to,
Yep. Okay.
to get to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what would you, for the up and coming musicians who aspire to be like you, or to aspire to be a professional musician, what advice would you give them?
Keep on doing what you're doing, but the most important thing is keeping the faith. Keep your faith about what you want to do and do it. Nobody, mom, dad ain't no. Keep your faith about what you want to do and do it. And a lot of time, be around people who are in something that you want to do. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
it's like me coming up as a young man going to a jam session, you know, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get into some more things where I can open up like a jam session where, you know, a young person can come and sit in with their gift. You dig it? You know, and trying to help somebody.
Amen.
That's what my biggest thing is, man, like passing it on, because more we pass it on to one another, it don't have anything to do with color. We're talking about being a good human being to God.
Yes, sir.
The more you pass something on, it's going to help somebody else. And I see the world is changing now anyway, because it's more kids are being able to get together, you know, where we weren't able to do this before. We have more kids get together now, no matter what your nationality is. You dig it? You know, we're just trying to do the right thing right now.
So I know you have 4 of your own projects, and then you're on everyone else's as a special guest. What's next for RH Factor?
This is what I'm losing sleep over right now.
All right.
Okay, talk about it.
Planning on doing something. I mean, and I think about my big band, okay, because I would like to do something with my big band, and I have to make sure I get the right person who write the music, you know, that's feeling me, you know,
Yes, sir.
and the band, and like just keep on moving, man. Just keep on moving. I just thank God, you know, at my age right now, I feel good.
Do you mind sharing your age?
No, I'm like Benjamin Button. I'm about 17.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, I'm fortunate. I'm 78. I'm 78. Feel good. Only time that I felt a little restless and tired was through this COVID. Because through my life, I'm busy going up, down the step, taking the drums, you know,
Yes,
picking them
sir.
out of the thing, and like. But I'm feeling okay. You know, I'm not sick with the COVID. I had my shots and everything, and I had it try to come and slap me, but the long as I'm playing music, man, it's so beautiful, and I get a chance to be around people, because through life for me, I'm happy about my music, because as many times you look at television, you see all the negative, and you see depressing things, and I was telling somebody the other day, man, God has blessed me, because through my music, I'm around a lot of happy people. People who I've never met. It had nothing to do with the color of your skin.
Yes, sir.
You dig it? You're just a happy, good person, that God loves, because you're trying to be a good person. And music brings a lot of happy people together. It had nothing to do with your race. It had nothing to do with that.
Yes,
They just
sir.
come in because of the music. So I feel like I'm in a great positive place in my life.
It's beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Closing thoughts. Do you have any closing questions or thoughts?
So as a frustrated drummer, and I don't know if Dwayne even knows, I refer to myself that way internally, who was offered drum lessons when I was about 10 years old, and I said no thank you, because I was afraid that if I didn't become a master drummer, then my mother was going to call me a failure and wasted her time and money. But thankfully, I birthed a drummer. Dwayne does know I
Right.
birthed a drummer.
Right.
And I promise you, he already knows your name and a little bit of your catalog. But I'm going to make sure he becomes a Roger Humphries-ist by the time he's done, because I appreciate the inspiration, not just from your music, but from your life, because you have a life that is very well lived.
Wow.
I'm thankful.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very
Yes,
much,
sir.
man.
I learned something in this session. Let me first. I don't want to say apologize, but I've known Uncle Roger since I was 12, and there's something when you talk about being in the presence of royalty. I mean, this nervousness that you guys
Changes
were
in countenance. It just
like not just greatness, but that spiritual sense that I feel coming from you, Unc, just had me kind of shook up today, and I just felt that. So I just wanted to explain that. But one thing that you taught me today was, because I was hard, and when people see the other podcast, I was hard on the musicians here about the originality. But you said something. Go and listen to the people who you talked about that's
Right.
come from here, the Stanleys, the Ahmed, and really close my eyes and identify not just jazz, that Pittsburgh spirit that's coming from them. And I'm challenging myself, not just one song, to really, indulge myself in that music, to be able to identify and to proudly say, that's the
it.
Pittsburgh sound. And you brought that out. So I wanted to thank you for that. Anything else you want to share with the people?
The only thing I want to share with the people is make sure you keep on supporting
Yes.
the music that we have in Pittsburgh.
Yes, sir.
And just be patient, because through the Hill District, it's going to be some very great things, man. Talking to Franco Harris and
Okay.
talking about the
Oh,
Hill
I heard
House,
about that.
the Hill House.
I heard about that.
And I don't want to give it away.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We're loving it, and I thank God for Pittsburgh. I thank God for where I was raised at. It's the foundation, man.
Yeah.
That people talk about all over the world.
Wow.
Pittsburgh.
Right.
Lastly, y'all, we talked again off camera. We talk about a lot of stuff before we start shooting. I don't know who we have to get to, but soon, I don't know if it's with this new project, there has to be something named a sound stage, a venue, something that when I'm going to the RH Factory, I'm going to the Roger Humphries soundstage, I'm going to the whatever he decides to name it.
Yes, sir.
There has to be something in Pitt. We have the August Wilson Center. There has to be a Roger Humphries Center or something. And we don't have to wait till
we can give him his
he's
flowers
resting with the
right
Lord. We give him
now.
his flowers right now. So the powers to be, the Francos, and all the rest, look, we got to make sure we get this episode to them. And if you don't hear anything else, hear this. And you're talking about someone who is worthy of that, we know it's right here. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Roger Humphries.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We
sir.
out.
We gone.
We got the sounds from the pit, straight out the box, baby. The sounds